Hello, bonjour! It's this time of the year again. So it's time to paint something with gouache for Christmas. And I have this special little thing that I don't know how to call. So let's call it a decoration or a card or whatever you want to do with it. This is really fun to do and I will explain step by step how to do it. So let's go! So I want to explain how I find my inspiration, because this is a question I get a lot of time. And this is something that my mom did. She is doing a lot of mixed media, small items. I don't know how to call that. This is my inspiration. The first thing I want to do is work on the composition, because this is a weird shape. We are not used to make composition in this kind of style. Procreate, this is because I have Procreate with me, so it's easier, but you could do the same on paper. Just print the template and scribble inside, so you will get what you want. Right, let's go for the first one. I want a snowman, and I have to think this will be painted with gouache, so I don't want to have too much detail. So now decide if you want it a bit offset. Maybe it's a bit more interesting when it's offset, and some pine tree, obviously. So same thing. This is maybe a bit too in the center, a bit too symmetrical, as we saw in the composition month. Maybe like this. So it's a bit about the same size. So the first thing is to place the shapes. So you could use a grid, but really it's not a big deal if the snowman is not at a good place. Shapes for the arms. Don't want to have them both up. So one up, one down, gives more variety. The line is mixing with the edge of the mitten, so I'm enlarging it. It's always to have something that is readable as what it is. And I don't like this mountain because it's exactly on top of the head, and I think it will be a bit weird. So let's make it more offset. And you need first to hydrate your blues, your watercolor, and prepare the juices. And I will add some salt, so we'll have a starry effect. What I care about is having almost the same contrast between the two sides, and add some salt. So I have some salt here that of course you won't be able to use after. So it's supposed to be the night, starry night. So I can add a layer of darker blue under the trees. So it's been overnight and it's fully dry. And it takes a bit of rubbing to remove the salt, but this is exactly the starry effect I was looking for in my sky. I am not precious. I know this will be thrown away anyway. Let's go for some bright yellow. Taking a bit of water in the yellow. So yellow is transparent as well. So I'm afraid I will see my pencil lines. Yes, and what about the buttons? So I let you decide if you want to do them with an actual button, if you have something small enough, that is. So does it look like my composition? Pretty much not. I had the mountains in white, but I feel it's merging with the head, so it's not cool. I have changed the shape of this arm, but yeah, it looks pretty similar. So this is where it's important to have a dark background on the sky so your stars are visible. It's the magic of Christmas with some dots. I'm using a very, very small brush. It's a size 1. All right, and I want to separate this from the pad. So you have a part here without glue, so you can't see it because it's just a paper, you don't see the glue. And I would be using a wedge. This one is made for art, but you could use the one you have in your kitchen. Would do exactly the same. And I am inserting the wedge under the first layer of paper and tearing away. Yes. When you have your drawing done, you can go and paint the background. I will use an ultramarine blue for the background, and my first layer is very liquid, very watery. This is on purpose because I am using very smooth surface, kind of a Bristol, and the paint has a hard time grasping on the background. So adding the first layer, very watery, will help you to get the second layer sticking to the paper. I know it's kind of weird, but you have to experiment that and you will see what I mean. So when your second layer is done, you can go with the color of the tree, and I am leaving the space for the baubles. Because yes, gouache is opaque, but not as much as you think. So it would be difficult to have yellow on top of dark green, for example. That would never cover it because yellow is a bit transparent. And then let's add some snow or stars. You decide what it is. I am dripping white paint. This is my permanent white, which is the most white I have. It's important to rotate your paper so your dripping is not always in the same direction. I mean, the little droplets can have a way. And then I'm using gold gouache. Actually, it's gold poster paint, but it's about the same, to paint the baubles. So it's a bit sticky to the paper, but that was expected because there's always a bit of glue going out. So this is holding very well because it's a cardboard. So it was a pain to paint on, but now it's nice. And you can have it both ways. Let me show you. So this way. Oopsie. Holding the phone on one hand and moving on the other one, and this way. So this was the short version of the painting of this card decoration, whatever it is. Ooh, some sun. No, just kidding, we need sun. So if you want to have the real-time step-by-step tutorials, I have a bunch of videos. It's in my membership. You have all the information in the description below. And if you join us, we are now about 100 gouache tutorials available in the membership. And when you join, you have access to all the past content. See you there.